Alright, today this is Joey Strube. We have a 2020 Axis 850 on the dyno, and we have the SPI pipe on it. I'm representing TorqueLink, and today we're going to be showing you what we can do for this SPI pipe with the TorqueLink system versus stock. So first I'm going to show you what the pipe does without a flash, and then I'm going to show you what the pipe does with a flash. So let's go into the regular ECU 2020 flash with the SPI pipe on it. It does work decent. You can see that it will need some changes within the ECU, but so we're taking off right now. Pipe's cold, engine's warm, and the thermostat is open. So let's go on the first run. First thing you'll notice is it does have a little bit of a hard time carrying RPM out. With the ECU flash, we'll be able to fix that. So here's the first run. So that's the first run. Like I said, doesn't quite want to rev out to where we have the dyno set. The dyno set to go to 8250. We actually pulled that back 50 RPM, but it does make decent power on that first run. So let's pull that one up on the screen here. So it is fairly lean, and I think that's gonna kind of mess with us when we get going later on here. But on the first one we made 178.4 with 118.5, so it is a decent first run. The pipe is working, and you know it does work all right. So let's go into the second run here. Should make that 8250 no problem this time. And it barely made the 8250 on that one. As the pipe gets hotter, it'll make it there no problem. So that second run made 177.1 with 117.4. The brake specifics are fairly low. We're at 483. So for extended pulls, you're definitely going to want to add some fuel to this 2020 flash, or the latest 19 update. We'll do a few more here, just so you can see what it does. And on that one, we pulled out to 8250, no problem. Third run into it, we're making 175.7 with 115.8 torque, and we are down below 5 for brake specifics yet. So definitely going to want to add some fuel to this somehow, some way. Our way is an ECU reprogram. And we're going to go into the next run here. Now the ECU on that one added a bunch of fuel because it sees maybe a little bit of knock, so it's saying I need to add more fuel, and we can actually compare that at the end, but we can actually have time right now. So let's go to the last one, and we'll see the fuel change just from the last one to this one. So on this one it added that much more fuel, so it went quite a bit richer, hence the power came down, but it went richer because it seen knock. Alright, let's go into the next one here. Straight Line did a decent job on their pipe, because it is looking like you do need to add fuel, so it is making more power than stock, which anytime you start making more power than stock, you will need to add fuel, because the factories do not leave a lot of extra fuel in there. They just can't, because of emissions. So on this one we made 174.4 and 115.2. We're still right around that 5 mark for brake specifics. Let's go into another one here. Looks like it's, adding a little bit of fuel here and there because it's seeing knock. And that one we made 174.8, and it does make pretty good torque compared to stock. So we can go open up the last one here. And this last one, it added a little bit of fuel in the middle, a little bit of fuel there. So we can go into one more here, and we'll see if it kind of stabilizes out or if it's kind of moving all over. So there you go. This is the SPI pipe. I'll lay a bunch of the last runs one over the other. And we can kind of see what's been going on with them. So we can do one more here. So this is a good batch of the SPI pipe, and I can actually overlay stock one in here just so you can see what kind of gains. There are gains. It does make more bottom end, but that anytime you're making more torque and more bottom end, the ECU is going to have to change for that, and we'll show you what we can do to make this better. So we'll go to, so there you have it. Red is our stock run today, and so our stock run, we're at 171.3, and the SPI is anywhere from 175.6 to 173.74 when the ECU is kind of slowing it down. It does make decent power in the mid-range. That's about all I have for stock ECU. Next we'll go in and see what kind of gains we can make with the torque link flash and how we can make it more consistent. Alright, Joey Strube here, Torque Link. Today we're going to compare the Torque Link flash for the Straight Line Performance single pipe versus this tight dotted dash here, which is their pipe with the stock 2020 flash versus a stock sled completely. So their pipe does work. It makes decent bottom end and pulls a little bit harder. On multiple runs I did see it drastically adding fuel to compensate for knock. So we resolved a lot of those issues in our Torque Link flash and made it really stable. You'll notice it makes a little bit more on the early part of the curve, flattens out up top here, and has way better over rev. So without any further ado, we'll go into the first run here. It's a warmed up sled. The thermostat's open, and the pipe is a temperature where it would be if you're sitting idling for a couple minutes waiting to take off on your first pull. And then we'll go into multiple pulls after that. first pull pulls pretty good. Makes decent power with the torque link flash. We always get as much as we can out of it on every pull, so that way whether you're on a cold pipe or a warm pipe, the ECU is going to give you as much as you possibly can. That first one was 179.5 and made 119.2 foot-pounds of torque, and was using 0.503 pounds of fuel per hour per horsepower. So we can go into the second run here, and you'll see that torque drop a little bit, but you can see the over rev really come into play. Now as that pipe's heating up, we can really get that thing to over rev and get you some mile an hour. So in doing longer pulls, you really feel that. 176.6 horsepower, and that was at 80/50. 116.6 was the torque, and the pounds of fuel per hour per horsepower was 0.514 at max power. See the ECU is making compensations, getting the most out of it it possibly can. On this one, we made some decent power, 177.1 and 116.9 for foot-pounds of torque. Peak horsepower was at 8100 on this one. The flash really lets this pipe over rev compared to what it does on a stock ECU flash, just because there's not enough fuel and there's too much timing in the mid-range. And we have 116.9 for torque, and that was at 7800. At peak horsepower, we're at 0.520 pounds of fuel per hour per horsepower. Nice and stable. So that torque link flash is being nice, stable, consistent. 177.4 at 80/50. 117.1 at a wide range from 7800 the way to 7900. And at peak horsepower, we're sitting at 0.515. So that flash really kind of gives it better over rev, lets it RPM out, and really does wonders with this. Here we go. On this one here, we're at 176.2, 116.3, and pounds of fuel per hour per horsepower, we're sitting at 0.520. Here we go. You can see still putting out that 177.2, 116.9, and this one here we're at 0.510. We'll do one more run here, and then we'll go to the graph and actually compare the numbers. This one here we're at 177.5 and 117.1 for torque, 0.515 for pounds of fuel per hour per horsepower, nice and stable, zero DT while we're running through. The engine, just in case you're wondering, is sitting at 125, and at the end of the run the pipe temps up around 1050 to 11. We'll do one more run just to get a good group here, and then we'll go over the results with you. All right, here we go. There you go. We got a nice consistent group of results here. We'll overlay.
Sales perk 2 please. Sales perk 2, Justin. Perk 3 please, Justin. Perk.
All of the last ones here, just so you can see how consistent this thing runs with the torque link flash we made for it. Alright, so that's the last 4 runs in a row. And we can kind of zoom in on this here. You can see the brake specific fuel consumption is right down here, and you know, we're anywhere from 0.510 to 0.520, nice and safe. Now let's overlay the stock one so you can see where the stock is. You can actually just zoom in like this so you can see a little bit better. And then this is the stock ECU. So you can see on that stock ECU it really tips over and it doesn't want to rev. The fuel and timing correction just aren't right for this pipe in the stock flash. But once we actually took over the ECU, we can make all that much happier, create much better over rev, better mid-range torque. We gave it an aggressive yet safe timing curve with corrections built in there, so as your pipe is cold and hot, it automatically does everything you need it to do. So this is the comparison. So I hope you enjoy this. You can purchase this torque link flash from Bikeman Performance, bikemanperformance.com, and check out torque link at torquelink.com. Thanks. Have a great day.